Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man's Court Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'll be reacting to three more scary story channels. And the first one I'm looking at is Shining Gold Tales. And the video I'll be watching from his channel is called Two Chilling True Driving Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the back, shall we? Okay, here we go.
I'm a 13-year-old female, and it was a few months ago when this happened. I was on a hockey trip with the rest of my family.
Right.
I don't play, but my siblings do. I'm generally a quiet person. I have social anxiety, and I don't react well to situations with people complimenting me or anything like that. My family had just pulled into a rest stop, which I was already familiar with. I was walking in to get a drink with my little sister, who was 9. Suddenly, she ran ahead of me. I didn't care much at first, but I soon wished that she'd stay by my side, because not even a few seconds later, a Caucasian man who looked to be in his mid-40s honked his horn at me. I instantly jumped back because I was right next to his car, which was a red 4-door sedan. He started telling me how pretty I was and how I should hop into his car. Being the unsocial person that I am, I walked away with no reply.
I agree with this girl telling the story here, that her sister should have stayed by her side, because I got a feeling that guy probably won't even honk the horn if she was around her. But he sounds like one of them sexual stalker people, and if you know him, he's going to try to confront you. But anyway, let's continue with the story, see what happens next.
I ran inside to go meet up with my little sister. I'm pretty close with her, so I told her what happened, and we just laughed about it. We didn't think much of it, and soon left. The man made crude gestures to me as I walked back to my other siblings. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. My brother's pretty intimidating, and he's 16. My other sister's 15, and not intimidating. They both play hockey, and they're both stronger than me. We drove off and made our way to the hotel where we were staying. It was an hour or 2 away, so after a while, we stopped at another rest stop so me and my siblings could stretch. I had already forgotten about the encounter with the man when I noticed a car pull in. It was a red 4-door sedan. I didn't pay much attention to it at first, until I walked into the restroom area. A man followed me in and just sat on the bench like he was waiting for someone. I wanted to avoid eye contact, so I pulled my little sister next to me, and we just spoke about video games for a while. Eventually, my mom walked in and told me to go back to the car. I always avoid talking to strangers, and I get really nervous if someone even says hi to me.
Yeah, I had a feeling that this was going to happen. He wasn't going to take the silent treatment very well. He wanted you to speak to him and get in this car. So he's going to be following you now.
So I avoid eye contact with people that I don't know. As I was walking back out, the man followed me. He was around the same height as me. I'm 5'8". He walked next to me and whispered something into my ear along the lines of, "You would look good tied to my bed." I don't completely remember what he said exactly, but it was something like that. I just tensed up and ran for my car, jumping into the back seat. I was scared, but because I was an idiot, I only texted my friend about it. She told me it was some random creep and not to worry. I did as she said and forgot about it.
I wouldn't be forgetting about this. He ain't no random creep. He's gonna be following you all and messing with you until you can't take it no more. But that is really sickening to hear someone say you'll look good tied up on his bed.
I thought that was it for the encounters, but I was wrong. Once my family got to our hotel, we checked in and went to the ice rink. It took longer than we thought to get to the hotel, so we had to leave for the rink immediately. I began to forget the man again. It was the start of the second period of the game, and I was sitting outside the actual rink with my sister. I didn't bother watching, at least not at first. My sister and I were playing some multiplayer games when a man sat right next to me and asked me what I was playing. I got extremely uncomfortable and moved away, only to have him move closer. He began asking me if I had a boyfriend, and I just pointed to my ear to pretend I was deaf. It was pretty stupid looking back, but I had a plan if he believed me. I don't know that much sign language, but I know enough to get by. Sadly, he didn't buy it and continued to ask. I stayed silent, ignoring him until he put his cold hand on my thigh. I was wearing leggings, so I felt how cold his hand was. I jumped, and when I did, he squeezed me. In the game that my sister and I were playing, you could message each other things, so I quickly looked at her and wrote in the chat of our game, "Ask me to go to the bathroom with you." She looked at me and realized what was going on. She leaned in and asked me to go to the bathroom. We hid in there for a while until the game was over. I didn't see him until the next game, which was the next day. My sister had a fever that day, so I volunteered to stay with her at the hotel. I really did it to avoid the man. It was a few minutes later, and I heard a knock at the door. At that time, my little sister was downstairs getting breakfast from the hotel. I assumed it was her, and I opened the door. I hated what I saw instead of my sister. It was the same man as before.
Oh, heck no. How in the world did he know which hotel room they were in? Unless he followed them into the hotel without hotel staff or them knowing. Oh, that would be creepy.
I was horrified. His face had a horrible grin on it. Before he could say anything, I slammed the door and decided it was a good time to call the police.
Yeah, do that.
I was crying at that point as I sat against the door and called 911. They arrived shortly after, and the man was arrested. It turned out he had been taking pictures of me the whole trip. He had been following me this whole time, even when I was swimming with my siblings. From then on, I don't ever walk alone. I hate it. I just really hope I never see him again. It was the second scariest thing in my life.
Oh, don't worry. If he's arrested, he'll probably be put in jail for stalking and harassment charges. But that is creepy that he was actually taking pictures of you while you were with your family at the hotel pool. That will make a trip unenjoyable if you have somebody that just keeps bothering the heck out of you. But I'm glad that he was caught, because I'll be mad if he ran away and then found out where they actually lived at. But that didn't happen, thankfully, and she can now enjoy the rest of her life without worrying about somebody else or even him stalking her again. So let's get to story number 2.
I'm 14 years old, and I'm very small. Since I'm barely 5 feet tall and 100 pounds, I look younger than I really am. This happened a month ago when I was moving.
Okay.
After the moving truck was loaded, I fell asleep in it. An hour or two later, I was in a town near my new home. My grandmother was parked in a Burger King parking lot, and I was still asleep. So my 19-year-old cousin, let's call her Max, came to the passenger door and woke me up to help carry the food. I agreed. We went into the Burger King, and she ordered. Then I tapped her arm and told her I was going to the restroom. When I was done, I exited the restroom, and I noticed an older man, about mid-50s, maybe early 60s, staring at Max, and then at me. I paid no mind to it, since I was still very groggy. I walked over to Max, as she tried to get some soda from one of the machines. Finally, after a while, she got the soda, and we left the Burger King. As I was sitting in the moving truck sipping on my chocolate milkshake, I saw the guy walking towards the truck, and he said, "I know who you are," and stopped at the driver's side, where my grandmother was. She looked rather confused and replied, "Who am I?" He said with the exact same tone, "The woman of God." Then he started rambling about taking care of us girls. All the while, I was terrified.
Yeah, I'll be terrified too, because if someone just walks up and says that you're the woman of God, like they're talking in a religious past tense, then I'll be like, okay, he's a little creepy. He must not be right in the head. I would have been rolling up the windows and calling police before he starts acting aggressive.
Ideas flashed through my mind of creepy things I'd read on Reddit. Then suddenly, he pointed to me with a dead serious expression and said, "You're a pain in the ass." I was then really confused and also scared out of my mind, and I started laughing awkwardly and mumbled something. He continued rambling until I heard Max calling me, telling me that I left my fries in the bag, but I already had my fries. I went over to ask her what she meant, but she changed the topic to the guy. About 5 minutes later, we agreed that he was giving off creepy vibes. My grandmother, however, called my name to say that we were leaving. The old man's car was blocking our path at the time, so he hopped in and moved out of our way. He did the "I'm watching you" motion with his fingers and mouthed the words, "I'm watching you." Now, this is when I grabbed my phone and called Max. I told her to make sure he didn't follow us. Luckily, he didn't. It just creeps me out to think that he was watching us get our food and our drinks that whole time.
I would have been mad as hell if he said I was a crazy ass. Because I'll be saying, well, I didn't do nothing to you, mister. But thank God he moved his car out of the way when they decided to leave, and then he did not follow him any further. But golly, I still would have been calling the cops just to let them know about that crazy guy before he skips that Burger King altogether. Those are the type of people you definitely don't want to stick around and chat with. They're messed up in the mind. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more Shiny Gold Tales reactions like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Core channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.